Well, hi everybody. Welcome to a new series that I'm creating called Magical Musical Moments, and it's about the songs that really grab us, really, and the songs that grab me will not necessarily be the songs that grab you, but what is it about them that makes them grab us, really, that engages our attention and makes us want to engage with them. And it's inspired by a French photographer called Cartier-Bresson, who had this concept of the decisive moment, which is where he would perhaps take a series of photographs, and there would be candid style photographs on black and white Leica, on black and white film on a Leica camera, which is probably the best way of ever taking photographs. And he would analyse the photographs that he took, and he would see perhaps one where everything about the picture would work together to convey the exact thing that he was trying to convey. And this series then is about the corresponding thing in different songs, really. The moment in the song where everything comes together and says everything that needs to be said. Right, and those moments are got to, and then they're sort of led away from, as it were, by a series of tension and release. And the song that I want to talk about today is perhaps sort of indicative of any song where there's any anger in it, because obviously anger is a great sort of tension building thing, really. And it's Call Me When You're Sober by Evanescence, and the singer is a singer called Amy Lee. She sort of fronts the band, as it were. If you know Evanescence, you're probably at a slight disadvantage from someone who doesn't know it, who's got a blank canvas to come from, because then, you know, they get the full whammy of what this is all about. All right. So it's about living with an alcoholic, or probably more to the point, breaking up with an alcoholic. All right. And she is contrasting the ideal of what a relationship is about with what her relationship is about at the moment. And probably it's taken, you know, maybe many years of trying, of building up to this moment. All right, she never really sings about anything jolly, does our Amy Lee, and yeah, you know, she's probably imagining, you know, the years and years and years of frustration and being bullied by an alcoholic, and she's finally plucking up the courage to say what she wants to say, which is, look, this is finished. All right. So it starts out with a very plaintively delivered chorus, which is just backed by a piano. And at this point, you know, if you don't know who Evanescence are at all, then you're probably thinking, well, what is going to come next? Because it's obviously, you know, it's loud. It can't just stay double track vocal and piano, because you know, it's got to go somewhere. Where's it going? All right. Now, it could at this point quite conceivably go into a Britney or Christina style R&B diva. Well, thank God it doesn't. It actually sort of goes into a very heavy doom-laden guitar, bass, and synth groove here, which is sort of dum 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 bam 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 dum 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 bam bam bam, and throughout the verse, some of that accompaniment drops away, but it still sort of based around that little figure. Right, very static. Again, where does it move to? What's, you know, what is coming next? and this is building up the tension here. You can see I'm getting all tense. All right. Okay, so the chorus is kind of the ideal. The verse is really what's happening in her relationship, and it's much more scathing than the chorus. All right. The chorus, the lyrics are, "Don't cry to me. If you loved me, you would be here with me. You want me, come find me. Make up your mind." Okay, so she's putting the onus on him instead of, you know, for all these years, you know, the fault, as it were, and the onus being sort of erroneously laid on her, and him being the victim, which we'll come to later. She's now turning it round to him and saying, do you want to be in this relationship? And sort of questioning him. I mean, you know, we know, because we've got the lyrics in front of us, we know that it's over, but, you know, in her sort of argument with this bloke, as it were, the onus is on him, right? So in verse 1, we have these this very static accompaniment and quite a clipped vocal delivery, which hangs around two or three notes maybe. Should have let you fall and lose it all, so maybe you can remember yourself. Can't keep believing, we're only deceiving ourselves. And then we get to, and I'm sick of the lie, all right, which is part of where some of this tension is being built up. If you can imagine a tyre that is being pumped up and pumped up and pumped up and pumped up full of air, and you're thinking, where the hell is this tyre going to burst? Maybe the tyre isn't going to burst here, but maybe we'll just stop pumping it for a little while. Or maybe, you know, I don't know. But I'm sick of the lie, and the word lie goes on for about 6 beats, and it's all on the same note, all right? And maybe, you know, she's never thought about that before, you know, and, you know, it's suddenly all coming out. I'm sick of it, you know. So then we go back into the chorus. Now the chorus this time is not a piano and vocals, it's, you know, the full heavy band, as it were. And the chords change, it moves around, because it's trying to offer some sort of decision to be made to him. It's not as tense as the verses, all right? We then get a short burst of that groove again, dum 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 bam bam bam, which sort of, but this time you've also got a piano which is creating dissonance and more tension, because the piano is kind of it's not out of time, but it's not the same rhythm, and it kind of doesn't fit really with the guitars that are going underneath it, and it sort of jars a little bit. And then we get, you know, back to this verse again where, you know, she's really spitting feathers. Couldn't take the blame, sick with shame, must be exhausting to lose your own game, selfishly hated, no wonder you're jaded. And then, you know, we're getting back to this corresponding line. In verse 1 it was, I'm sick of the lie, but here it's, you can't play the victim this time, and you're too late. And this business about victims, and again, turning the situation around. Anyone that's ever been bullied or been in a you know, perhaps a situation like this will know that, you know, the person that is being done to, as it were, is always made to feel that it's their fault, and she's finally seeing that it's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's like the end of Good Will Hunting, as it were, you know. And yeah, and so at that point, that is where this huge release comes out, and that is the magic moment. You can't play the victim this time, and her voice, instead of staying on one note for the word time for 6 beats, her vocal delivery actually soars, right? And that is where, for me, I get a tingle down my spine every time I hear it, right? Now the rest of the song, we have the chorus again, and then we get the middle 8, and this is where, you know, it has to be, you can't play the victim this time, because then the air really does get let out of the tyre, and you know the whole song then sort of comes down and resolves. All right, the middle eight is, you know, it's just the instrumental backing sort of drops away again. So we've just got these words, and you know, you never call me when you're sober. You only want it because it's over. It's over. How could I have burned paradise? Not my fault, you know. How could I? You were never mine, you know. It's just, you know, there is the message in a nutshell. And then, you know, she really is finally sick of it, all right? And she says, look, it is finished, all right? Don't cry to me. If you loved me, you'd be here with me. Don't lie to me. Just get your things. I've made up your mind. And, you know, it's an absolutely, in sort of 4 minutes or so, it's just, you know, a huge message and a huge sort of, I suppose, rallying cry to anyone. I haven't been in this situation, but, you know, anyone who perhaps has been in the situation of living with an alkie, or, you know, perhaps, you know, someone who's got some other kind of addiction problems or whatever. It's, you know, perhaps, you know, really speaks into the heart of them, and it's an economical message, and it's so effectively done. If you've never heard Evanescence, then I would suggest that you start out actually probably with that song, because it's fantastic. It's on an album called The Open Door, but find it on YouTube as well, and, you know, enjoy it, folks, you know. And here is where I stop. Here the lesson endeth. Bye.